What a massive, massive commitment for Notre Dame in the 2026 class. We're going to talk about it in this video with Tim Hyde. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video before we dive into it. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content and blueandgold.com. So much content about this news, Tim, and it is Ian Premer, an elite tight end, may end up as a five-star tight end by the end of the cycle. On three, 24/7 and ESPN all rank him as the number 3 tight end in America, on 3, highest on him with that 95 rating, and number 24 overall player in America. This kid is awesome. 6'5", 225 pounds. And Tim, we'll get to your thoughts in just a second, but look at these stats. 30 receptions for 541 yards and 8 touchdowns, and then 37 carries, 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. And by the end of the film, we'll also see him playing some safety. The kid is an athlete. Here he is with a kickoff return touchdown. Tim, you got to be fired up about this commitment.
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about this kid as we're watching film. Is how many times have we broken down film and it's running back, slot receiver, single receiver, boundary receiver, field receiver, and a kickoff return, and then like you said, a little bit of D. On top of that, he's a triple sport, a heck of a baseball player. He's a double player, over 20 points and 10 rebounds and hoops for his basketball team. Great basketball player, a lot like you start thinking about some Eli Raritan and some of the other great tight ends they've had that have been outstanding basketball players over the years at Notre Dame. But you're right, Mike. You look at the numbers. He's consensus. Top 3, 247 ESPN on 3. All have him number 3 tight end in the country, which there's no reason for him to drop down. If anything, he may be, battling for the number 1 spot when it's all said and done at the end of the year, because he's an athlete. He's a bona fide athlete. He's has all the traits. When you talk about just the modern, it's funny, you keep hearing this, which is pretty true, right? When you're talking about scouts and you watch the NFL draft and they talk about these modern day tight ends, and it's the Kelseys, it's all the guys that we know about, obviously Brock Bowers as well. And you watch Premer, and he looks like Brock Bowers. His body, the way he cuts and maneuvers, a lot like Brock. Fantastic player. And then, you know what? You just start. There's so many great tight ends. They're everywhere at Notre Dame. But you start thinking about Michael Mayer was a man-child as a freshman. Instant leading receiver. Kyle Rudolph was the same way as a tight end in his freshman year. And I think Ian Premer is just one of those guys, as good as they've had the last couple of years, right? Man, they haven't had a dude that could catch, run, do everything since Mayer. So this is exciting as can be, Mike.
He is Notre Dame's highest ranked tight end commit since Mayer.
Since Mayer.
For as good as Notre Dame is at putting tight ends in the NFL and, being a contender for tight end U, they haven't landed that many 5-star-ish, caliber tight ends. Like Raritan was the top 100 recruit. James Flanagan was ranked pretty high in the cycle last year, but we haven't seen Notre Dame get a guy who very well may end up being a 5-star by one of the recruiting websites at the end of the cycle. And tremendous athlete. You don't see him blocking in line. You see him downfield on screens and stuff, and very physical and everything, but not a traditional tight end yet. But that's what he's going to develop into one. I actually talked to Premer maybe 15 minutes before we started recording this. By the way, this is one of those rare videos where Tim and I are recording after the commitment happened rather than before. So I talked to Premer, a little bit, after his announcement and then before this video. And he said he's really looking forward to working with Harris Biven, Notre Dame's assistant tight ends coach, who works with Mike Denbrock, and Biven's got an offensive line background as well, so he's really excited to work with Biven on his blocking, because this kid is going to be a three-way, or what's the word I'm looking for? He's going to do it all as a tight end. You're gonna be able to split him out in line, catch, block, do everything, and then Preston Frizel, more of your split out flex tight end. Tons of reasons for excitement here. Tim, do you want to add anything else on this film before I move to his recruitment?
Oh, just, I mean, it's film. You just, I mean, just, what you're going to, as far as the elite tight ends, obviously Mayer. And before that, you had, Komet and Brock Wright, who were top 1, 2 in the country when those guys committed back in there was at 17 days. And then after that, obviously they had a bunch of elite top 5 tight ends, LSA Jones all the way down, Smythe, Koyak down to Rudolph, and you name it, they've had him. But film wise, Mike, he's gonna, we talk about that hip tight end, but he's a guy you could flex out so much, like Komet, Mitch Evans. Before, I mean, Mitch was a stud in 23, flexing out. Obviously, Michael Mayer was just a darn wide receiver at 255 pounds. And then the best of the best when it comes to being split out is Tyler Eifert. And the size that he had, I mean, he's a 6'5", 230-ish pound kid already. So no reason why all of a sudden he's 6'6", 250 pounds, playing boundary wide receiver at times. So that's what's super exciting. But he gives Mike Denbrock just so many just ways to get the ball inside. I mean, let's be honest, he's a matchup problem.
Yeah.
He's a matchup problem. And you get the receivers, you have to play these tight ends one-on-one. And lastly, some of the best hands I've seen. He is just smooth the way he catches, holds the ball, and he's always looking to eat up yards, which is awesome. So very exciting, Mike. It just is.
Tim, at like 11 a.m. on Thursday, if you would have said, "Hey, Mike, where's he going?" I would have said Kansas State. All the Kansas State writers and national media thought he's going to Kansas State. Multiple predictions from On3 Kansas State guys, a reporter at 24/7 on the national side reporting Kansas State. Some people thought Notre Dame was running third. This was truly one that, like, this kid played it close to the vest. Kansas State thought they were getting him. But talking to, here he is at safety, Tim.
Yeah.
Talking to folks on the Notre Dame side of things, I was told that Ballhawk, Notre Dame felt better about his communication than ever. Like, in the past week, 10 days or so, everything was going fantastic between he and Notre Dame. Like, the contact was incredible. So, like, Notre Dame wasn't buying the whole Kansas State talk. And sometimes you're a bridesmaid in that scenario and you're like, you're left out of it, but in this scenario, Notre Dame was spot on. So, surprise. I would call this one a surprise, not in the sense that Notre Dame got an elite tight end, no, but in the sense of how this recruitment was, where people thought it was Kansas State, maybe Notre Dame was running third, and like Notre Dame felt like they were going to get a call today that Premer was going to commit. They just didn't know if it was them or Kansas State or even Iowa State. But this one, Tim, came to Notre Dame, and they could not be more fired up about this news.
Yeah, you and I have been talking about on our live shows about there have been surprises in this class, unlike some years past. There's been some surprises, and I think
pleasant ones too. That's the good part about it. Pleasant surprises.
Oh, without a doubt. It's been exciting because it is the year 3, the title run, the playoff run, the games that they had this year, we keep talking about the culture and all those things, but it's true after a year 3. Your program's established, how you do things established, the strength program established, the facilities. I mean, we don't talk about that enough with the Shields, project, how that thing is going to blow up as soon as Mr. Premer walks on campus. That thing's going to be up and running. So the excitement. And then, Mike, I know you and I just talked, heck, that was last night, for crying out loud, right?
Yeah.
He's committed on Thursday, about the potential for a top 5 and how some of the dominoes have to land.
The dominoes are landing. They are.
I mean, Dunham's going to be a 5-star. Joey O'Brien, if he's not a 5-star, then just get rid of rankings. And then I think you now know Premer's without a doubt a legitimate. He's going to be in that 25 to 50 range. He's going to be in consideration for a 5-star at the end. Then you got Adams. Pouncey's one of the. I mean, there's 2 huge surprises we've talked about, getting Pouncey, Adams away. It's an exciting class, and I think, Mike, there's obviously some great programs out there that are going to land a lot of great football players this year, but Notre Dame's in that running for a true consensus top 5 ranking, which hasn't happened since 2013.
some numbers here. 10 top 150 commits per the On3 industry ranking, that's 10 of 22 commits. Notre Dame years past may have 5 in the entire class or so. Notre Dame's got 10. The class score, run the link. The class score at a 92.845
Yep.
that's Notre Dame's most recent best classes 2022 with 6. They had a 92.594. So very close, but Notre Dame's not done. And you got to keep into account the average number of commits used in this ranking is 14, and Notre Dame's got a really deep class.
Yes.
So that's only going to help the average. Look at this: the average rating of a recruit, USC of USC's 30 recruits, their average rating is a 90.74. But in this score, it's only your top 14 because that is the average number of commits in the Power 5 or Power 4 level. Notre Dame's got a better average rating of recruit than USC does. So that's a pretty darn good sign. 17 commits, or 17 4-star commits, 1 5-star. Just 4 of your 22 are 4 stars. In years past him, it's been about a 50-50 thing between that blue chip ratio. Notre Dame, 18 of 22 commits currently rank as 4-star guys. And Notre Dame could have up to, Tim, we talked about this in that show that you mentioned, by one of the websites. Rivals rankings is going to go away on July 1st, and then On3's rankings will become the Rivals ranking using the same system and everything. Dunham, Joey O'Brien, Premer, Adams, 4, Uatade, 5, and potentially Grayson McHugh. That is 6 Notre Dame commits who could potentially be 5 stars. Dunham and O'Brien already rank as a 5-star according to one service.
Yeah.
Dunham with On3, O'Brien with 24/7. Tim, right now, if the rankings were done, and I know I'm yapping, it would be 5 because Dunham's a 5, O'Brien's a 5, Premer ranks in the top 32 by On3, so does Adams, so does Uatade. Freaking incredible. This class, I cannot rave enough about this class.
No, I mean it's outstanding. You didn't even mention Pouncey, who is
Incredible player.
he's a legitimate top 100 football player that's going to move up. No, it's exciting, and we've been talking. I mean, you and I have done videos over the last couple off seasons. Can they finish number 5? And it's always the dominoes that need to fall. This year they're falling.
They're falling forward.
It's the success, the hype that's coming into this 25 season. They're going to be a preseason top 5 program. They have a Heisman candidate. They have future NFL picks all over this roster that are already being projected. And like I said, the facilities top notch. And NIL, which I've been preaching about, is going to be a positive for Notre Dame. It just is. The entire talent base is being spread out all over the country, and it's an exciting time to be a Notre Dame football fan. I mean, they're going to have a heck of a season, heck of a recruiting class. 2026 could be better than 24 and 25. So the future is bright. There's just no other way to sugarcoat it. It is bright. They've been stacking talent each and every year. We got 8 wide receivers and only 2 linemen. Every year it's consensus of just boom, bodies. The same amount of bodies each and every year just keep coming in, stacking on top of guys, seeing who could survive, last, be great football players, and and the handful that have left, that's just the nature of the beast now. So it's a heck of a time and exciting class. Mike, I mean, seriously, dude, you're right, Mike. They have a legitimate shot, 3 to 5 5-stars. They just do.
Yeah.
And that's that hasn't been around in ages.
Yeah. That's the commitment, folks. Ian Premer, with a bit of a surprise, committing to Notre Dame on June 26th. Have you hit the thumbs up yet? If not, what the heck are you waiting for? Hit the thumbs up. You love this news. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel if you are new here. Go to blueandgold.com for so much more analysis of this news and hear from Premer himself when I get that article up. So again, blueandgold.com. Appreciate you all for watching. And as always, we will catch you next time.